As a developer, there are a lot of things that comes into picture when you are creating any product, or let's say you are creating any kind of an application. And one such term that I have been hearing a lot these days, like within last month, is something called observability. And one such platform that I came across recently is middleware.io. And I was fortunate enough to connect with Neil, who is from Middleware. So basically, in this video, we'll be talking about what observability platforms are, what middleware as an observability platform does. And I think after this video, you will be also able to understand how you can use these kind of platforms to scale up your applications or to scale up your startups or to scale up the products that you're building. So without any delay, let's get into it. So hey Neil, how has it been?
Hi. Thank you, Aditya, for calling me here and just to aware more people about observability space. I'm going good. How about you?
I'm doing pretty well back in Mumbai. So back in my home, eating roti chapati. So it's pretty good. Let's talk more about observability. Like,
Yeah.
um I think within last a couple of years, this term has gained a lot of you know just like Nvidia has get a lot of gain a lot of buzz around the news. Observability has also gained a lot of news. So please tell me more about what observability is, because as a developer, I have heard about this, but I'm not
Hmm.
in depth knowledge on what that particular thing is.
Yeah. Fair enough. So as in, I will go in a very layman language. I
Yeah,
don't know anything. I don't know tech. So I will go in that layman language. So
yeah, works.
whenever we are making an application, we are using a lot of APIs. We are hosting the application somewhere on some server, so we need to track how much percentage of that server is utilizing, if that server is crashing, or and there are many of things, like if that servers uh, doubles down when there is huge latency, or there are many sort of things. So we need to figure out how much the percentage of CPU usage is there, how much memory is used. So as a person, we can't see all the things manually, because in application you see how many people have shifted from monolithic to microservices. So there are now like many small applications which are separately working over there. So if you go and see manually all these things, then it will be a nightmare for everyone. And
Okay.
to troubleshoot that, it will also a nightmare of nightmare there.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, to trigger, like to see all the infrastructure, if some, let's say if there is spike, if your CPU is used more than 50%, then
Hmm.
you should have an alert in your email or in your Slack or in your Teams that your utilization is there, has gone up to 50%. So you can figure out something as a bottom line for your product. And
Okay.
nowadays, if you have seen, you one of the a major example is when the Windows update was there, you had seen how many like aeroplane had shut down that at that time. You can see,
Yeah.
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 So to prevent that kind of downtime, also you can have proper alerting sort of thing. So it can help you to better understand how your applications are going on. And as a developer, as a specific to developers, so you make a lot of APIs.
Hmm.
You make plenty of APIs
Yeah.
and you don't monitor them. Monitor in the sense if the API is working properly, and
Hmm.
because as a developer you build APIs regularly, and after
Hmm.
a time you have 500 APIs, so you don't have time to check every APIs are working or not. So it's simple. Like in observability space, there is one term called synthetic monitoring. So if you can just trigger this synthetic monitoring in all our APIs. So it will, if any of your API is down, it will just throw an alert to your, yeah, email or to your Slack or any source sort of thing. So it will be
Okay.
beneficial for as a developer also. And observability is one of the major thing in the DevOps ecosystem.
Okay.
And middleware is helping out a lot of companies, lot of products to get better in this ecosystem. And middleware also supports cloud native platforms, cloud native ecosystem. So majorly talking about cloud native is which helps majorly around microservices, which uses Kubernetes and a lot of the major cloud native uh, projects. And apart from that, observability nowadays, AI is going on.
Yeah.
So observability also integrates AI nowadays. So if you see LLM,
Hmm.
nowadays many people are using LLMs,
Hmm.
but you don't know if you just type a prompt in chat GPT or any of the platform, you don't know what actually going on that backend.
Hmm. Yeah.
So to better understand, because if you build a LLM application, you need to understand and fine tune the performance of the LLM applications.
Yeah.
So nowadays, middleware also provides LLM observability that helps you to better understand the accuracy of of your output is perfect, and how many tokens are consumed, and many such different factors. So middleware also
Okay.
is going on with AI stuff, and middleware also launched LLM observability, which is helping out companies to better their LLM applications, LLM performance. So it will eventually help them as a company.
Okay. So I think like if we say it in that if I can summarize this, does observability mean that we are kind of automating the stuffs that is usually done by developers while monitoring the APIs that we create, while there are, let's say, some warnings which are triggered on the website, which are not to be seen, but kind of automating the task that a day-to-day developer does. Does that seem right?
Yeah, absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. So yeah, observability is helping people to better their time in making application, not on the debugging. Observability helps
Okay.
in that. And also apart from that, AI is integrating nowadays. So one of
Hmm.
the feature called anomaly detection is there. So anomaly
Okay.
detection does what is, it takes the past data, and it will predict some events that there will be some spike. So you can prepare for that. So in
Okay.
that sense also, nowadays, and on the baseline of observability, there are major three things: logs, application logs, infrastructure logs. There are different type
Hmm.
of logs.
Yeah.
There is matrices. Matrices, you see how the dashboards are there. And third is traces. So traces is the thing, whenever you go to any application, let's say we search on google.com, and however the search is going to their web server, and to web server to their servers, and the output is coming back. So there will be a one span ID connected with all the traces, all the tracks, so you can track everything through one trace.
Okay.
So yeah, trace is also important to better understand, like how the application performance is improving, or where at what particular position the application is not performing well. So you can better improve that.
Okay. Because I think if I like talking in the perspective of a fresher who has just
Mhm.
gone into the industry, this
Uh-huh.
is something crazy. I would literally say the word crazy because as like when I was in college, I was just used to think like, okay, whenever we are making requests on any website, let's say we are making on Google, we are making on YouTube. How do they actually monitor if if the performance is pretty good or not? Now, when you mentioned the term about tracing, that's when I got to know, okay, so for every search request that we make, there is a particular trace that is being done to test if that API call is performing good or not.
Hmm.
So that
Yeah.
is something very crazy, and I think um, that's what is the crux of all the products or all the softwares that have become like the top 3 or top 5%, because
Hmm.
that's what is making them. uh, the way they are. So
Yeah.
as developers, we would think like, oh no, the development is the core. Yeah, I would say that development is core, but apart from that, making your software observable is it is much crucial than development. Because if your project is good and if you're making a good project, but unless and until it is not having a good performance, it is not giving a good customer experience, none of the thing that you create would actually matter unless
Yeah.
and until it is not observable.
Yeah.
So, tell me more about middleware. Like apart from LLM observability, what other things that does middleware do?
Hmm. So, talking about the core components of middleware, we have infrastructure monitoring, LLM authority, I already told. We have serverless monitoring. Apart from that, we have application performance monitoring of in different tech stacks. We have Node.js, Python, Java, .NET, Laravel, PHP, and every tech stack. So application performance monitoring helps you to gather your application logs, and it will help you to get every details of your application, and it will help you to better improve the performance of your application of each and every request. Apart from that, we have synthetic monitoring. That is, I told you, like as a developer, you make a lot of APIs. So to get alerts of single API, we have synthetic monitoring. And apart from that, we have real user monitoring, which is also very different and which is also very useful. So in a mobile application, let's say you are any using any mobile application, or let's say any application. So there are different screens
Hmm.
as a user journey. If you go to Amazon, you go to Amazon, you search something, you took the product, you go to checkout, and you go into payment and do the payment. That's the whole user journey. So in real user monitoring, it will record the whole sessions, how the user has gone, and how it impact the business. Is you can see where the actual user is getting stuck.
Okay, yeah.
So you can see the sessions, you can see the replays. We call it as a session recordings. You can see the replays, and you can better understand the user are getting stuck over here. So it will help you to improve your performance at that portion.
Okay,
Yeah. So
okay,
apart from that, we as in middleware, talking about middleware is a San Francisco based startup, and it's also YC backed startup. YC is Y
oh,
Combinator. Yeah.
yeah.
And yeah, pretty much active in the community, tech community. So we actually go to many tech conference around DevOps space, around cloud space. And we also had an initiative called Observability Meetups, which we do across India and also in USA, where we host meetups in major cities to aware and gather more people about DevOps, and to make aware them about observability space, and to share their problems with us and how we can help them out in their
Okay,
problems in their observability journey.
okay. So, like, what is your role particularly at middleware? What do
Yeah,
you do? Like, what
yeah.
you can say? Like, what is the day in a life of Neil Shah working at middleware?
So yeah, I work as a developer advocate. So
Okay,
I run the tech community sort of thing. So in general, my major role is working around tech content, around dogs, around customer success, and different portions. I have different thing. Also, we do a lot of creative thing. We are coming up with podcasts. We are coming up with webinars, and yeah, there is a lot of thing around community, around tech space, which I take care. And I also go majorly in different events around DevOps space in our region, or let's say in India. And I also do some sessions, do speak in some of the conferences there. Yeah, that's
okay,
major thing about me.
okay. So, like, if let's say if a particular startup wants to start using this observability platforms, what should their roadmap be like? How should they move forward with?
Haha. So yeah, as a startup, as a small start, I'm talking about as a small startup. So they will majorly target about using open source platforms, rather going into SaaS-based platform. But yeah, slowly and gradually that startup will grow on a larger scale. But and then eventually, if your startup is grown on a proper stage, then you need to take care about a lot of data security and different stuff. So at that time, you won't be that on that plate where you need to compromise the data and everything. So majorly, many of our customers have come from open source to us, and also competitors of middleware are very much expensive. So on that portion, many of the customers are coming to us because we charge on like how much data you ingest, and we also
Okay.
had one good feature called data ingestion pipeline where which helps you to like control how much data you ingest in your server.
Okay.
So yeah, so that is the major thing. And as a startup, if you want to use different multiple open source tools, so that takes a lot of manual efforts, and that takes a lot of lot of hours to maintain that. So apart from that, doing a lot of things on that, you can use middleware, and you can make some good product apart from doing this sort of thing.
Okay. Okay, I think particularly from this video, I think a lot of people would or startup owners, specifically startup owners, would be able to understand the observability part of the entire development process, and particularly me running my own startup, running my own YouTube channel. I'll be troubling you a lot because when I'll be also having some of the products sometime, so I'll be calling like, "Hey Neil, I just want to start with this stuff. Please guide me on this stuff." So I think a lot of startup owners, startup founders would be able to understand what middleware is, what observability platforms are, and how can they integrate these observability platforms into their software or kind of into their products to make their product performance much faster and also make billions of dollars out of it. So yeah, thank you so much, Neil, for hopping up on the video. It was lovely having you. And yeah, this was it for the video, guys. If you like the video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I'll also be putting up the link for middleware on the description below. Be sure to check it out. And see you in the next one. Until then, bye bye.
Bye.